So here we are on the third turn of Age of Renaissance. Started things off. Everybody gets their first card, right? But Venice bought a card during their option to take cards. Actually, they screwed up. They would get the top of the new deck card. Basically, they get the first card out of the second deck, as opposed, I thought Barcelona got it. Looking at the ordering here, though, buying a card actually comes specifically after you draw a card. First player could remove Shortage. He could pay to remove this. He didn't want to, but he did want to pay $10 for that extra card, which could be a big bonus. And actually, it turns out it is, because he's got a very powerful position here. 2 spice cards in his hand. If he's able to get a good collection of spice, he'll be able to score them both in quick succession on one turn. I don't know what other people got. Green does not seem to have a card. So actually, he doesn't get this. I am so sorry. England gets this. I didn't give them the card. I was down to here. He actually gets this, which is the longbow instead. So both, and nobody knows this, but both Venice and the English have a spice card, which is going to generate conflict. There's always the knowledge that those cards exist, but if you have them, you really have enough control that targeting those things becomes worthwhile. If you had 2 of them, well, you have enough power that not only does targeting become valuable, but it actually becomes tremendously worthwhile to try to get a collection. In fact, that would have been a really powerful bonus for Venice. I'm kind of glad they didn't get that. Alright, so now everybody's going to get to play their cards. I'm going to mark it there and come back in a bit. Okay, let's look at what happens with the play of the cards. Venice went first, and they ended up playing the Ivory Gold card, giving them $10, and London also got $10. Really a matter of, it could have gone either way, but they had something else they wanted to aim for better, and they wanted to hold off. They didn't want to hold a pile of cards. They were getting a good enough payoff from that. When they have another one already on the burner, it's hard to keep too many cards, even if they're good cards like that. Maybe a mistake, but we'll see. Then we go to Paris. And Paris played Famine, which hit them the hardest. Everyone else had at least a grain, and you see Paris just falling further and further. And sometimes it's worth holding on to try to fix something like that. In their case, they just didn't see an easy way out of getting hit as hard as they did. It's just a matter of, am I going to get hurt for holding that card for longer? So their misery has gone up. They also played Rashid ad-Din, who will give them a discount on Written Record and Overland East. I don't think they can buy both of them, but I think they can get Written Record. They're really falling behind in a severe way. And, you know, that's something that just happens in this game. If you get hit hard, and in this case, the unlucky war was very painful. Now, for the person who gained from that war, going over here to Hamburg, they're not doing that terrifically well. Now, they played Dionysius Eugenius and put a couple bucks to cover him. He gives $20 off Written Record. It's kind of a good deal. If anybody goes for patronage, he'll get some money back for it. May have been worth just leaving him unprotected since nobody has patronage yet. But then after Hamburg, we go to good old Genoa. And Genoa plays St. Benedict, who gives a bonus both on Written Record and patronage. So he's probably going to go for that. No money was put on him because you have to buy the patronage first. Now, if you get the patronage first, it's worth picking up the Written Record at the cheap bonus that it is. And he played a Civil War on Venice. It's kind of an iffy choice. He had decided to do this before and didn't change his mind. London would have been a better choice because London had 25 tokens and $41. with a civil war, you have to lose half of one of those, your written money or written tokens. And when there's more of a balance like that, it's a harder choice. For Venice, it wasn't that hard a choice. They only had 8 tokens invested in $70, so they lost 4 tokens, but they also lost some of their capital, and they're going to be moving last. And to tell you the truth, Genoa is much more interested in attacking Venice and competing with them than they are with London. So, and the reason London is because they got the Crusade advantage. It would have hurt London more, but Genoa was more interested in hurting Venice and has more to gain from the disruption on Venice than going after the person that can hurt them most. All right, let's see where we are next. Over to Barcelona. And Barcelona played the wool card, which doesn't help them as much as it helped England. England got $32 and Barcelona only got 8. But again, there's only so many cards you can hold, and they're holding 2 good things they wanted to go for. They played a rebellion. They're also playing Charlemagne, covered him with some money for nationalism. They want to get that extra bonus. The rebellion was played against Genoa here on their metal space because Barcelona wants to expand there, and that's the closest thing that they could get that advantage on. All right, and finally to London. London did not play their card. They're holding it. It happens to be the other spice, which they just, are in no position to burn. They think that they can get a pretty good shot at it. Okay, now we're going to go to the purchasing, where you get the upgrades and such not. Let's see. Take a quick look at how things combine on Venice, who had to go first's purchases. First thing they did was they said, okay, there's a lot of patronage options open. So they bought patronage. That cost them $30 right up front, and a misery index, which they marked up. But now they have patronage, and they paid $2 over here to get the 20 off here. They don't have to pay anything here because he's not covered. So that's $30. Hey, that's the cost of written record. Boom, $2. He gets written record as well and marks that down over here. And now he's really close. If he had Overland East, he could start reducing his misery. But I'm not too worried about that at this point in the game. I'm more worried about, hey, nationalism's available, and that's cheap. And especially cheap for Venice because they have urban ascendancy. So they take $10 off. Plus, they paid $1 to get the $20 off here, so they get $30 off nationalism. For $30, they picked that up. So for a little over $60, they were able to get 3 major advances, and then paid their hand stabilization costs. Not what Venice was planning on doing for this turn. You never know. When the leaders come up, you take those opportunities sometimes, and this was well worth it for them. I think a number of people are going to take these opportunities because they are kind of rich. And this often happens at the end of this, at around this period, is if the leaders come out early, they're harder to get. But at this particular point, when they come out, if they all start coming out now, it's really easy to grab a lot of these early advances with discounts. Let's see who's next. That's going to be Paris, who has their own special over here. Cheaper written record and Overland East. I don't know what they can buy, though. Well, here's why these games are tough for me. Okay, well, Hamburg already had written record and played this anyway. Sometimes you get people who make idiotic moves like this when you're playing with newbies. You have to assume that when I'm playing these games solitaire, I cannot keep track of what each player has. It's just too complex a game for me to handle all the balancing there, even with the record sheets and everything. It's just doesn't work. I should have been waiting and buying myself printed words so that I could get the $20 off that way. Well, that doesn't work. And now the question is, well, can I use patronage somewhere? By the way, going back to Paris, all they were able to get was the written record. They're not able to get the other advances. Very hard for me to remember what I've got in balance, though. And that's a painful aspect of these kind of games. Even even not solitaire, but I probably wouldn't make this mistake other than solitaire. There's a lot of other issues, though, where I will not be able to balance these calculations in my head right, in the same way that, say, something that's a spreadsheeted out game like Europa Universalis is actually easier for me. This game is often very frustrating for me, especially in the solitaire circumstances. Okay, so we had a noob here who just screwed up. That's what we're looking at. I get infuriated by that, but because that's not how I mean, if I were playing with someone and they were doing that, I'd feel miserable for both for them and also, you know, in the terms of the overall experience. You never know what kind of effects a game that has on a game to have somebody kind of making these random moves. But we're stuck with it here because I'm just not clever enough to handle this solitaire. Okay, so I don't know what Hamburg's going to do to make up for this. We're going to see. Well, really everyone except Paris, and maybe Hamburg to a lesser degree, did fairly well off this turn with all those things out there. Picking up patronage for $30 ends up getting a written record for free. Nationalism for $30 because of the written record effect, and I had to give $10 back to Venice that they were due. I couldn't think of what they want. They don't want to really buy a boat, I don't think so. Well, actually they need one, because they don't have a way across. They want to get spice, but it's hard to get to. You know, I'm not sure. I think they're going to aim for something else. But what it did mean is not a single person got that overland east. And that's a big effect. This area is going to remain closed a little bit longer in the game because everybody saw these great bargains. Now the last thing that happens is Venice swings down and will end up being last because of their civil war. And that'll go in here. Got a pile of leaders over here that are unused. And, you know, a number of people have bought options. Let's take a look at what everybody's got here. London has the first level of everything except Overland East, and they have nationalism instead of urban ascendancy. Paris just has the heavens and written record. Not very good. Barcelona, they don't have caravan. They don't have the commerce. Genoa, the heavens, patronage, caravan, written record, and nationalism, everything except Overland East. Nobody's got an exploration yet, so it's not going to happen. Here, well, Venice has the windwardent bonus over what everyone else has, and they have urban ascendancy. So by far, Venice is doing the best. Good reason to hit them. And then here in Hamburg, they have pretty much the standard set. Kind of the minimal set for everyone except Paris. Even though they were doing a little better before, playing their card didn't help them too much. They got a few bucks off the patronage from it, but that was a real waste, a newbie move. Okay. Well, everybody pretty much bought what they could. Nobody could do misery relief. They paid their card stabilizations. Now it's time to actually try the expansions. I know things are bad because I've gone far enough in the expansion that I'm forgetting what happened. Paris expanded north, took Edinburgh, and up into the Shetland Islands. The Germans expanded northward here. They tried to expand into this timber spot here. They have the timber card, so they wanted to do that. They were defeated, and not sure who bought the card. I think the Parisians bought the cheap card, the 3-point card. After that, we have Genoa, and damn, Genoa picked up this and this, both of which were are in their nationalism zone, and they also made an attack somewhere. They picked up West Africa as well because it's cheap. I don't think they made an attack, but they may have. How many points did they have? 11. That was 3, 9 now. That used up everything. We go to Barcelona, who wanted to go in here but couldn't. They attacked here, failed, and then ended up attacking in here and grabbing this from Genoa, and not a lot else. So they're kind of stumped, still holding too many cards that they really wanted to gain some ground on, but they didn't get the lucky roll, basically. All right, now we're going to be on London and Venice. Actually, I figured out I cheated. No big shock there, but let's go on. London expanded heavily in their Middle Eastern or Near Eastern territories, preparing their way for the Overland East. They also threw a piece up here, but they threw 4 pieces into Salonika. Now that's where they cheated. They have caravans so they can do the other movements they did, and they have a big boat. They don't have a big enough boat, though. They landed 4 guys in here. There should have been a 5th guy for this, and those are often very easy for me to forget and not notice. Again, not good, but since it didn't hurt anyone but them, I'm not going to correct it. Likewise, Barcelona did the same damn thing and landed here with 4 guys to make an attack for this cell. And again, that failed as well. That's one of the reasons I couldn't just go back and say, okay, that's no fair. Because it wouldn't be fair to Barcelona to have lost their units there on an illegal attack if other people also were able to get away with the same thing. What I would do if I had allowed it to succeed, I don't know. But this is just one of the problems that I have with a game like this. It's hard for me to keep my focus on all the different little pieces. With a war game, it seldom matters. With this type of game, and I like this game, but with this type of game, it's very easy to make these screw-ups. Now, when I'm playing solitaire, who cares? I'll forget about it and keep playing and not really be able to record the effect and realize it at the end. But if I'm playing in a group of people and they see me doing that, it's like, great. You know, I planned everything and I was wrong. And I'm making these stupid mistakes that I hate having done. Anyway, we'll move on to who gets the most new stuff. Let's see who we got here. Genoa has 3, which isn't bad, but it looks like London's going to grab it this time. I forgot to mark them, but 2, 3, 4, 5 new territories, and I don't think anybody's up there with that. So they'll be getting the free card this turn. And that's not a great card. All right, and I'll record the stuff, I guess, and give out income. Okay, well, everybody's put their bids in, and some of them have gone kind of higher than we'd expect. Let's take a look. Our lowest is Genoa and Hamburg, Hamburg, with 8, $73 and $87 left, respectively. Now, out of the 2, Hamburg was the lower picked, so it becomes the number 1. Genoa becomes number 2. Hamburg's actually doing pretty well, it looks like. The big gain of all those Parisian city markets is the big issue here. They got a huge swath of stuff that they wouldn't otherwise have. After that, we're going to hit 10 for Paris. It's kind of a big amount of tokens. Paris is in this horrible position. They don't have the kind of money to buy the advances. They don't have the money to buy the tokens to get, a big cash flow ever. If they do buy the tokens, they may not gain much. They can't buy in advance then. It's just a very painful position. It's very easy in this game to fall behind. And if you fall behind big like they did, it's hopeless. It really is. Let's take a look at our next one. Looks like Barcelona at 14. And then we come to the scary ones. Venice, 20, $63 left. And London, 35 tokens with $41 left. The reason for this, I didn't catch these when I rolled them, there was a surplus in spice. London's not going to pay, they had to pay $11, but they're not going to try to go first in order to get their full $36. They want to expand. Holding the card isn't that painful. They want to get Trebizond, so they bought all kind of tokens to just flood the Black Sea area. Now, the truth of the matter is other people are probably going to be slipping in there, but we'll see how this works out. They do have a lot of power to be able to reach most of it. and they can even get down to Kiev. So they can gather almost all of it where other people might not be able to reach anything. All right. Well, I guess that's it for this turn. Wow, that's a lot of tokens there. I was putting some thought into why. So I played this a little before I started videoing things, and it wasn't terribly painful. And I've played it a few more times solitaire. The video definitely interferes with my ability to think, right? Just like being around people because I'm talking, etc. I wouldn't expect to be playing a solitaire game with people, and I think that I actually get worse game-wise when I'm doing the videos. So you have to excuse me a little bit. My solitaire gaming is actually usually more enjoyable without the video. But I do want to share some of these, and it is sort of the inspiration for the solitaire gaming I've been doing recently. I've been kind of stuck in a loop where I wasn't playing the games that I had here, and these videos have actually sparked my interest in gaming again a great deal. Hey, and I sorted my games, if I hadn't mentioned this before, all in historical order again. I still need more bookshelves because I got well, not only books but also a bunch of science fiction and fantasy stuff sticking off, and some historical that's not in place, but it's a start. I was going crazy having things where I couldn't figure out where they were. All right, up this goes.